All right, so in the training equipment review video, I talked about a little bit of the conditioning stuff that we introduce the dogs to here to get them accustomed to the electric collar and also help them learn what it means to feel the stimulation and how to answer it. So Darcy here is kind of new to being off leash, so she is going to help me demonstrate what it looks like to page the dog with the collar, as I mentioned in the previous video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Darcy have a little bit of freedom right now and run and go potty and sniff stuff. And then I'm going to use my remote here to use the nick button, as I discussed before. And I'm going to show you how the dog responds to feeling that stimulation with the collar, and sort of how we taught the dog and how they understand the collar. So as I hold it up, I'm going to have the remote in front of me so you can actually see me nicking the button. Now, at any time, if she's not responding to the number that I initially start at, I'm going to move up in levels until I get a response. So this is a really good way to figure out how each dog responds to the collar individually. All right, Darce, come on. Let's go, girlfriend. All right, so she's pretty sensitive to the collar. Oh, I didn't do it that time. She just turned around. Come on, Darcy. All right, here we go. So, good girl. I'm gonna nick her one time for going past me just then. Good girl. Now, I'll explain what just happened there. Initially, because her head was down, I don't think she felt it at a low level. So I moved up in the levels a little bit. Let's see, I started around 13, I went up to 24. So what happened was when she felt the collar, as you can see in the video, as soon as she started back towards me at all, I stopped nicking. So it's like the highway, the pathway to me opened up, and she could come back to me free and clear of feeling the collar at all. When she finished her answer and came all the way back to me just like this, I gave her a whole bunch of kibble. Now, I don't want Darcy to leave me until I tell her she can. Okay, free. Even when you start to use the come when called, which I'm going to do in a moment, you really don't want the dog to leave until they're released, just like any other command. We don't want boomerang dogs who come and go as they please for the recall. So because I went up to 24 last time, I'm actually going to come back down in the collar to see if I can get Darcy to respond on the lower level that I used initially, which is another really important concept. We don't want to go up and up and up and up with the collar. We want to stay as low as possible to get the response that's necessary in the situation. So hopefully she goes away from me. This is the thing about training dogs off leash. They stop going away. It's hard to get them to leave you. So hopefully she'll get into some smells and maybe leave me. Come on, Darce, go. Now let her make a little bit of distance. This time I'm going to go down to about 17. And when I lose her attention, I'm going to kind of page her with the collar again so you can see her response. And notice I'm not saying anything. I'm letting the collar speak for me. This isn't necessarily an exercise that you have to do at home, but it's just a good way for you to understand how the dog learned about the collar. Here we go. Yeah, she's a good girl. Now she went away. Good. So she got a little bit distracted. So what I did was I nicked her again for not coming directly to me. Oh, you good girly. Here you go. And that's just detailing the collar. So as well, when you're doing the come and caught exercise, if your dog kind of takes a scenic route or starts sniffing something or, any number of things like that, you're going to want to correct them for doing so. We really want a direct line back to us. Now I'm going to put Darcy in a sit stay. Come here, sweetheart. Come here. Sit. Come on. Sit. Good. Sit. And I'm going to use the collar while she's in a sit stay. Sit. Now, as you can see, we are not fenced in. We are totally off leash. Now, I'm going to show you her leaving the sit stay with the collar pretty low, again, 15. Here she comes, so I turn it off. Good girl. There she is. Now, I nicked her 2 more times for going past me. She doesn't know this yet, so you're actually watching her learn. Come here, Mama. Good. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Because she went past me, I turned the electric on again to show her that there's sort of an invisible line, and that when she comes to me, I don't want her to keep going. I want her to pay attention to exactly where she should stop. Sit. So we're going to do that again and see if Darcy makes a different decision. Sit. So what that communicated to her is, for next time, don't go to that space. Now, I might even be able to get a response from even lower. Let's see what happens on 12. Ready? Nick, nick, nick. Yep, 12 worked. Good girl. Oh, she went past me again, so I'm nicking her again. Good, Darce. Now that time when I nicked her for going past me, I turned the collar way up. Because obviously the first time it wasn't aversive enough to deter her from doing it a second time. All right, so now I'm going to use the come command instead of using collar to call Darcy to me. Now, if she does not come, I'm actually going to use the collar at a slightly higher level. Let's say 35 is about where Darcy feels that the collar is aversive, sometimes a little bit lower. But the point is that when I'm discovering the dog's threshold and I'm teaching the dog to respond to the collar, I make the collar very, very low. However, when I'm going to use the collar to make a correction, or I want to use the collar as an aversive, I'm going to use it slightly higher. Not so much that I'm being unfair or dramatic about whatever's happening, but I do want the dog to not repeat the behavior again, so I am going to make it a little bit negative. Let's see if she can wander off a little bit so that I can call her. Now again, when she gets to me, to keep the integrity of the command, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let her finish her answer, come all the way back to me. Then I'm going to reward her, whether that's with food or just praise or petting her. And I'm going to release her with the okay. If at any point Darcy goes past me or goes off the direct line back to me or leaves me before I release her, I'm going to use the collar and this nick button and hit it a few times to remind her that she has to complete the command. So let's see. Come. That's excellent. So let's see. Finishes her answer. Good. You can teach the dog to sit in front of you if you want. For me, it doesn't matter. Although she did anyway. Good girl. All right, so give her her reward. Now I'm going to pause for a second. Okay. And then I'm going to let her go. She's done. Good girlie. And we can repeat that a couple times. Got some interesting stuff in the sky around here. All right. She's never been on a walk back here, so it's pretty cool to let her just kind of like explore and be a dog, and at the same time we can practice recalls. The other thing that I can do is I can put Darcy in a sit stay or a down stay, and I can call her to come to me as well. Come. Yeah, good girl. Good. Excellent. Good girl, Darce. You're awesome. Good job, Mama. Good. So I'm actually going to put her in a sit and leave her here. Walk away. Here, Darce. Sit. Good girl. Ooh, chompy. Sit. Now you'll notice when you do sit stays and recalls together, they are kind of opposing commands. Sit. Because I've been calling her a whole bunch, she's going to anticipate that, and sometimes that might make her break the stay, but that's no big deal. You just reset it. Come. Yeah, she's good. She went to my side a little, so it's out of the camera. Good girl. Hey, hey, easy on my hand, Mama. You're crushing me. Good. And then again. Okay, means she can go. All right, pretty simple. Now, if at any point Darcy did not respond to me during that time, what I would do is I would simply turn the collar on and I would watch her, which is why I mentioned in the other video what I'd really like you to get good at doing is using this nick button on the side, but also being able to turn the dial up and nick the button at the same time if you are not getting the desired response at the level you're on. So for instance, if Darcy saw a deer and she were going to take off after it, I might start at 35, but she might be like, I don't even feel that. My adrenaline is up so high. In which case, I will go up as high as I have to go and I'll jump fast. If I didn't get a response at 35, I turn this dial like hard because I want to communicate to the dog that I go up high quickly. So listen to me the first time. It's exactly the same as the manual corrections and anything else. I don't want the dog to think that I just hang on the same level and nag them all the time. I get my point across. And then let's say I did have to go up to, it says 57. I didn't touch her on 57 today. But let's say that I did go to 57. I am going to turn my collar back down to the level that I know she typically responds to me on. And I'm going to always come back down to the lowest conversation level that I can. If I have to go up high, it's for a moment, it's for a situation, and then we come back down and we move on. Right, Darth? Good girl. So that is a quick overview of the Come When Called. Now it would be super cool if I could get that dog at the fence over here to come distract us again. Let's see if I can. And I'll show you how to have, if she does come out, I'll show you how to have pretty good timing. So instead of waiting for Darcy to actually take off towards the other dog, I'm going to call her when I see that her attention goes to it before she actually makes a decision about it. Because it's a better training conversation to have. I don't want to wait until she's fully committed to taking off to address it. But if I have to, I can do that too. Come on, Dars. Let's go see if we can get Mia out here. The barking dog. She's cute. Looks like Mia's busy. Dars, come on, Mama. Come on. So you'll notice that when I'm just playing with Darcy or we're just being casual, I'll whistle to her or I'll use her name or, I'll encourage her to come with me. But when it comes time to actually be formal about it, I use COME and my voice is very distinct. My voice kind of cuts through whatever's happening in the moment. And she knows that that's when the timer kind of starts to get her to respond. So now, for instance, she's pretty into whatever she's sniffing. So, come. See how she goes away? So look, I don't like this response. Good girl. She made too big of a circle around me. I want her to be more direct. I'm glad that happened. Yeah, you're good. But look, I corrected her with the collar. But I want you to take note that once this dog got the answer, she's quite happy. She comes back, she jumps on me, her tail's wagging. Does this look like a dog who is being abused by an electric collar? I don't think so. I think she looks pretty damn good. Okay, good job. It's a language that they truly understand. So I just made the area where she went a little bit negative. So she left the area and came to me faster, and she learned in that moment. It's no big deal. Come back to me more directly. Don't make a big circle. Because you know what? That could have been her life. That area where I stemmed her for going too far away from me could have been a road. So mean what you say. And don't be afraid to use the collar to teach when you use it correctly It's one of the greatest tools you'll have.